Welcome to the More Than More podcast, where we discuss building meaningful, impactful businesses, careers, and lives through real estate. I think I'm offended.
Why?
You thought after all this time that I wouldn't know how to say your name?
Well, some people don't.
Okay, so should we practice? Can you say my name?
And I often get where people will hear me in my car talk to Siri and say, call one of my children, Braden or Brenna Lucht. And they're like, oh shit, I've been saying your name wrong all this time. I'm like, no, you got it right. You got it right.
Well, I'm glad I passed the test because so it's Amy Lucht. Got it.
Yeah.
And we're joined by Lacey as well. How do you say your last name?
Cornwell.
Yeah, I spelt it wrong several times while working on notes. Well, welcome, ladies.
Thanks for
I
having us.
appreciate you joining us on a Friday, a cold, snowy Friday afternoon.
Yeah, it's good to be here.
You've been to Ankeny before?
Yes.
I think you have.
I lived in Ankeny. I started
Not
in
the
Ankeny.
town. I meant the office.
Oh!
I know you've been to the town.
Yes.
You don't sell as much
We came
real
up
estate
here.
as you sell without having been to Ankeny at least once.
Yeah. Yeah, we've been to the office. We had our photo shoot and stuff up here. So been here a couple times.
Well, thanks for coming. So I told you guys I'm working on getting more of our agents back in the hot seat to catch up with people and learn about what they're up to. So thanks for being the
We're the last
guinea
ones
pigs.
in the door, so the first one's in the seat. I got it.
I think we've got people that have come after you.
Oh, yeah.
You're just the ones that I think have got a relatively interesting story right now on some of the things that you guys are up to and your team structure. So I'm interested to learn. But big plans for the rest of the day. Like, what's after this? Just curious.
It's Lacey and Amy Day because we are busy and we don't get to see each other much. So
Like-
maybe coffee and then back to Adel.
And then Lacey's taking off for Florida tomorrow to go see family.
Love it. Good time of year to be out of town.
Yep.
Okay, well, so by formal introduction then, should we do that?
Sure.
Why don't you guys do it this way? You can make up whatever you want, but name, a little bit about your family. Super quick though, okay? You got like 2 minutes. I'm looking at you because I know that you could like go forever. Name, family, yours in real estate, maybe share something weird like a pet peeve or something that no one knows about you. Amy, you're up, ready, and go.
So I'm Amy Luke.
Nice.
And I have been married to my husband for 20 years, Tyler. We just celebrated our 20th anniversary. We have 2 kids. Braden is a senior and Brenna is a sophomore. And we have a dog, Levi. And we live outside of Adel. And yeah, I have been in real estate, so I'm celebrating a lot of anniversaries this time of year. So Ty and I got married in November, and then I got licensed in December, and then started actually practicing real estate in like February of the next year. So
Like
next year,
actually in the same year that all happened?
yeah, within 6 months.
Huh.
Yeah, and I lost my brother during that time too.
wow.
So it was like a big 6 months. I was thinking back to all of that, and it was kind of a whirlwind to get started in this business. So
What year was that?
2005-06 that
Yeah.
winter. Yeah.
Interesting timing because
Yeah.
you got in right at the peak and then it took 1 year before the world started coming undone.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So I sold real estate, and then I got was pregnant with Braden, and he was born in March of 2008, and then obviously we remember what happened in the fall of 2008. But I say it was perfect timing. I truly believe that it was God's timing for me. I really wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. All my life I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. And so that was just the push I needed to take that leap of faith and do that. So in the next year, we sold everything and we moved back to my family farm. And I was a stay-at-home mom for about 4 years, had another baby there. And
With a real estate license?
with a real estate license,
okay.
yeah. So I put it in referral. Like I practiced for a while, and then it just made sense to put it in referral for a couple of years. But I referred quite a bit of business in that time frame. And then we moved back to Adel in 2013. And I thought that I would do a normal 9-to-5 gig. And so I worked for the Iowa Association of Realtors.
I forgot about that.
For about 9 months. And it was so close to home, but I missed actually selling. So I only did that for about 9 months.
What was your role with IAR?
Communications and marketing. Yep.
Who was the head honcho then?
It was Dave Burt. I think
that's right.
His name. Yep. Yeah. And then it was transitioning to Gavin, like right after I left.
Cool.
So, yeah.
And Lacey, how about you? Same thing. Name, family, yours, and something interesting. That one of those put you on the spot ones?
Yes. So, I'm Lacey Cornwell, and I have my husband Jay is from Iowa. I'm originally from Florida. We have 2 kids, a 14-year-old boy and a 16-year-old girl. And yeah, real estate wise, I've worked with Amy for 6 to 7 years. We've been working together in some capacity. And then I started working fully in the business this year and got my real estate license this year. But we've worked in close capacity on a part-time basis with consulting for the last 6 to 7 years.
Okay, so back up. Let's do the real estate history thing then.
Yeah.
So you started down that path. So you jump in 05.
So 05. It was great timing because we were newly married. Everybody was getting married and buying their first houses. It was great timing for me. And then took that little break. And then when I came back, I started selling on my own, and I was working with Scott Wendell in the same office. And Scott's business was kind of where mine evolved to in the last couple of years, where he had stuff that he just didn't have time to follow up on. So I was kind of helping him with kind of his overflow, if you will. And the goal in the beginning was just to sell a little real estate. Nothing, no high pressure. And within 6 months, the train left the station. I mean, and there was a lot of momentum. Again, it was timing. It was really great timing because we're talking 2014, 15, coming out of the recession at that time. So this is
like your second go at real estate.
Yeah, so I call it round 1 and round 2.
It.
Yeah.
Okay. And so you were out for how long? Like
4 years.
And you started up again
in 2013, 14. I think it was 14.
Okay, so like a little bit after, I think 12 is when things started to turn positive.
Yep.
So you showed up at the beginning of what I would consider it's almost like when we pulled the plug on inventory and it started to drain for the next 10 years.
Like I remember looking at stats and it was leveling, it was back to where it was. It wasn't growing yet, but there was the dip down and then it was kind of back.
On sales?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No, I mean, that was good timing. You skipped all the real crappy stuff.
I know. That's what I say. God's greater plan. I was so thankful for it. So, yeah.
Okay. So you're back in around 14.
Yep.
And you've been you were with RE/MAX that whole time?
RE/MAX the whole time. Yeah. I started at RE/MAX back in 2005.
Scott was a friend?
Just a friend. Yeah. A couple Carroll County kids. We actually grew up like 5 miles away from each other.
But wait, was Scott at Precision at that point, or was it a different company?
We were at Real Estate Group.
That's right.
Don and Mary
Godwin.
Yes.
So yeah, Don, the Godfather is how I think of him, because he really was one of the OGs of the Des Moines real estate community.
Yeah. He was an amazing human. He is an amazing human being. Yeah. So we were there, and then about 6 months into it, I realized like this is going to be a full-time career. It wasn't just like I'm going to do this on the side and still be a mom. What
was different then than 2005? Was it that you had some experience or confidence, or why was it a struggle? And then why was it just that you decided you wanted to go be with the kids? What changed?
From
05 to 14. Chapter 1 versus, what do you call it? Try number 2?
Yeah, round 2.
Round 2. Why was round 2 good?
I think the biggest thing when I was working at IAR, because I thought, so kind of personal, which my real estate business is all built around my personal. So I focus a ton on what Ty and I's long-term goals are and what, our family goals are.
You're not talking about your database. You're saying your personal goals are at the center.
Yes.
And you're building your real estate business around that.
Okay. Yep. So when I went back to work, so Tyler I wanted to be a realtor in the beginning. And so he stayed in a job he didn't really love. And because real estate was risky back when we were first married. Yeah. And then I really wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. And the way that made sense was to move back to rural Iowa. And so we made a lot of sacrifices. And so
sounds like he made some accommodations for you.
He did. But like, it was amazing. Like, we made a lot of sacrifices. We were broke.
Yeah.
We were real broke. Like, we didn't know who Dave Ramsey was, but we literally had mason jars in the closet. And every week, like,
you were doing the cash system, the envelope system, even though you didn't know?
Yes, we didn't know what it was because we didn't have the internet.
Maybe Dave copied you.
Yes. I don't think so because he didn't know we existed. Anyways, so when I got back and I was working at IAR, I realized how much was different. I thought there's no way I can be a mom and sell real estate, because before I left, we were still doing carbon copies and faxing offers.
No, I remember.
And so
it was a lot more work.
Yeah, you would meet a client and they would want to make an offer, and all of a sudden that 15-minute showing went into a 2-hour. And I was like, I'm not going to miss my kids' stuff. But what changed in that 4 years was technology. So all of a sudden, DocuSign and back then it was what we were using was DocuSign, and everything was so much different. And I was like, I think I could do this. I think I could do the showing, go to the soccer game, write the offer at the soccer game, and like still do this. And so that was the biggest difference that I saw when I got back into it. I was like, I think I can do both of these
Kids
things.
would have been a little older at that point.
They were 5 and 7. They were still pretty small.
So they still needed pickup every day and all that stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
So about a year into round 2, my husband was at Wells Fargo, and he was like, dude, I cannot do the chain to the desk job anymore. I've done it for the last, however many years to get us this point. And I totally agreed. I mean, here I'm like free bird every day. And so he was like, I'm going to talk to my boss today. And my business at that point had gotten busy enough where I was thinking about getting an assistant already, because the work-life balance was getting out of whack. And I was feeling a lot of stress at home, and I didn't feel like I could be present with the kids. So I was already thinking about it. And I was like, well, if you're looking for a job and I'm looking for somebody, why don't you and I just do this together? So we started back then. And
I can think of 50 reasons.
Well, so it started as it was going to be 3 months. He was going to take the summer to help me get my S Corp. And like, once you know me, I don't like any of the financial parts of this business. I like to make a plan. I like to really dive into the numbers, and then I like to release it to somebody else. And so he was going to help me get all that set up for a temporary time base. And 3 months into it, we were like, this is awesome.
You enjoyed working together, or
working together?
Cool.
So we worked together. He worked with me for 8 years, almost 8 years.
All administrative, or he was licensed as well?
So it ebbed and flowed. It changed, obviously. So in the beginning, it was administrative. And then he was Mr. Mom. So like we role reversed, and he was getting groceries and getting kids, and then helping me with kind of admin.
What kind of sales were you doing at that point? Maybe
I think probably around 100 to 120.
GCI.
Yeah.
Okay.
He would know, because I can't even tell you what my GCI is right now, because that's how I roll.
It's more than that.
Yeah. We loved it. So he was doing that, and then every couple of years, he was like, maybe it's time that I do something else, and he would try like to put his toe in something, and it just wasn't the right time. So he'd come back, and so then he got his license, and so then we formed Team Luke. I was like, this is not just me. I never liked back then that anyone would think that it was just me. Like, it was never just me. There was always somebody else helping behind the scenes, whether it's even your closers and your listing input people. Like, I did not love Amy Luke Real Estate. So Tyler it was actually 2019, and he was doing an Ironman competition, and we had t-shirts made because he said to me, there's no way I could have done this without you guys. Like, this is a team. Yes, Ironman. I know that I'm out here doing this Ironman, but it takes a whole team behind me to get me to this point. And so we then said, we're a team. Like, the 4 of us, like my kids and my husband and I, we're a team. So we made shirts that said Team Luke. And then I was like, I got to do this in our business. So that's when we kind of changed to Team Luke. So he was with me. And then in that year, kind of that next year, he wanted to really focus on our investments, on our flips and our.
You already had a bunch at that point?
We had a few, and he wanted more. He had a whole plan. And so I had hired my first assistant, Kim, in 2019, and Lacey helped me with that. So Lacey
How did
and
Lacey know you?
So we had met in Adel, and so all of this going on, we're neighbors, lived in the same, downtown Adel. And they found, I don't know how we started talking about EOS stuff, and they were at this point in their business where Tyler wanted to start to step out a little bit, but it would have been a lot too much for Amy to handle all by herself, or you didn't want to go back to handling it all by yourself.
Yeah, I didn't want to. I've said since that time, I will never do this alone. And if I ever have to do this alone, like if people leave or business is not enough, I will find something else, because it's just, as anybody that's been doing this, there are a lot of ups and downs, and I never wanted to be in it alone again. So,
well, you figure out the parts that you love, and once you find a system where somebody else can do the parts you hate or that other people have unique ability at,
and there you go.
You never want to go back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so wait, I need to catch up though. So we're now what year?
2019. Early. I don't know. We must have started talking early or late 2018.
He's still in. But you're getting them hooked up with somebody else. So another assistant.
I was doing more strategic planning and business planning, and
for who? Like what's your?
So on my own, but also worked with an EOS implementer and was working as the integrator for that EOS implementer.
And I want to get into that. So let's just put a tag on that. Yeah, but keep going on the story.
So then Amy, so we got to know each other a little bit just from being in town, and she knew I was focused on that. And I was like, you guys really need to look at EOS. And then we just kept talking about like, well, you don't really need full blown EOS, but like I can come in and do a session with you guys. So I came in and helped them kind of look at that structure.
So they thought they were using you to find somebody else, but really you had a master plan.
Well, no, I did not. Tyler probably is the one.
Tyler, like the first meeting that we had with Lacey, he was like, we have to build 1 million businesses and make Lacey run them all.
So then I stepped in because they were hiring someone at the EOS implementer was also hiring an assistant, and they need an assistant. So I just kind of helped source and do some initial interviews. And
so we found Kim, and Kim was amazing. And Kim is actually now helping Abby. Full circle, same Kim. So Kim was so great. And Kim was with me about 6 months, and we were just getting rocking and rolling. And then COVID hit.
Okay.
And in the first couple of weeks of COVID, I totally panicked. Like looking back, I was still like, I definitely panicked, and I was like, oh, the lights are off. We're never going to sell another piece of real estate. And Tyler at this time was building investments and specifically rental properties. And then there was the rule that came out of like where they could not pay their rent for 6 months, like in those early days of COVID. And we were like, well, that's not sustainable.
No one knew what was going to happen.
Nobody knew. So in those really quick early moments, I said to Kim, either I can cut your hours or I can lay you off and you can get some unemployment, and we'll go that route, because Tyler was coming back in to help with whatever he needed to. So we made that decision as a group. And then, like 2 weeks later, the lights came on in big, crazy ways. And so then it was just triage. I mean, that next year is like a total blur. I don't even.
So when does Lacey come on board full, like in more real capacity?
So that next year I helped a lot with their marketing, because that was something that they just couldn't touch. And I was like, I've got capacity. I'll do consulting hours for your marketing. And then
what are you doing other than that at that point? You're doing consulting elsewhere?
Very small business consulting. So individual entrepreneurs. Okay. And then, I did start helping some other realtors at some point along that, but I think it was another year later because of Amy talks everything up that she, so I worked with some other realtors, and I don't know, we just became great friends over that time too.
And we had total ideas back then of like, maybe we should have a coaching, like her and I are endless ideas.
I've done coffee with you before. Yeah. You two are kind of, in a good way, scary together.
Yeah.
Because I think you're meant to be together in certain ways. Like
we think so too.
Yeah. Yin and yang.
Yeah. Well, that's why we just couldn't quite figure out where like we feel like we should be working together, but we don't know what it looks like. Yeah. And it just
we tried a lot of things. Like we were like, maybe we should help coach together, and maybe we should do this, and maybe we should do that, and lots of different ideas.
But from a business perspective, it always came back to, this is a strong business. yeah, Amy loves what she does. Like, there's no reason for her to step outside of that, where I was working in all different fields with all different people because I was just focused on the strategy.
So you
were
talking all the way to, we didn't even care what we do together. We just want to find a business.
Yeah, we think we work well together. And so how can
we knew we balanced each other really well. Like what I thought, like just our strengths and our weaknesses really balanced each other.
But you looked at each other and said, I know I want you, but I don't know where. And
the other thing is, I worked with my husband for 8 years, right? Like, and in a business as intimate as real estate, you have to have really hard conversations when you're working that closely. And so communication has always been like, I have clear, direct communication. If something is not working, we have that conversation. And I was able to have that from day one with Lacey, which is not all that common, especially amongst two strong females, that we could have clear, like, hey, I see what you're doing. It might not align with what we thought we were going to do. Or from day one, we have been able to have those clear conversations. And that is like probably my favorite part, that I never have to question from day one if she's thinking something, because she's going to bring it to me, and vice versa.
Yeah. Okay. So let's fast forward to today. At some point you then come on board in a quote unquote full-time capacity. Yeah. And so what's that nod mean?
Well, it was...
Because it was right. I mean, it was kind of to the point of like, I've either got to totally go do my own thing or we have to work this out. And we thought we weren't going to work it out.
This is like a come to Jesus.
Yeah. Last year, our plan was like, she was building her way out. Like, we were building the team, and she wrote the job application for her job.
Okay.
And the plan was, okay, we've tried all these different ways. We just don't see how it's going to work. It's time.
Okay.
And so I then hired for a new assistant. And so I had gotten 5 applicants, 2 of which I knew were supposed to be affiliated with my business. So we brought on Angela, who originally was going to fill more of Lacey's role. We knew, I think we knew Angela had a role, and then Jill, who's on our team, also had reached out about that. But after asking them more questions of like, what are you actually interested in this role? And really digging in we knew that they had a space, but it wasn't what she was doing. And we knew it looked different. And then we had a come to Jesus meeting. Okay. And I was like, what really do you want to do? Because she, we're friends too. Like, she's trying to figure out what she's going to do next. And I'll never forget it. She's like, I want to work with you. And I'm like, I want you to work with me. So we were like, okay, let's do this. So
but that took a whole shift. I mean, because that's where it went from, we were just making it work to like, this has to be a partnership. And how do we do that when we both so clearly respect each other's roles and what our strengths are? Because I'd always said I wasn't going to get my license. Obviously, it made sense at some point, but it still looks wildly different, I think.
Okay, so I want to jump forward because I feel like
I could talk about those fields all day.
Yeah, and I'm sure it's good. I really feel like there's some nuggets to be mined out of your guys' situation. So how do you, jumping forward to today, how do you describe your position and what you do for the team? So your title is the operations manager or something like that?
Team operations manager is what we've come up with.
Yeah, it's always a struggle and it changes over time.
And to identify what a role is to the clients, but yet to agent, like it's hard to know.
Titles are tricky.
It's really hard.
So let me just help set the stage so that everyone listening understands. There's 2 things that need to be explained. One, the team. 2, what EOS even is. Yeah. And then I'd like you to get into how this has manifested in your business. Let's talk about the team super quick. Okay. So Amy, you're team lead. Mm-hmm. Lacey, you're team operations manager. Mm-hmm. You guys still have Angela that in the story that you just told. Yep. Angela came on and she's more your TC now, transaction coordinator.
Contract to close, yep.
Perfect. And she collaborates then with our TCs and everything else, and that's wonderful. And then Julie Young, who is an agent but does a lot of new construction. They're a builder, right?
Yes.
Her and her husband, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And then Jill Rich is with you as well as also a full-time agent. Okay.
Correct.
So that's the 5 of you.
Yep.
So let's get into the EOS thing. So we've touched on it. It's why I really wanted both you in the room, because I think it's fascinating that you're doing that. Well, there's many topics, but this is a good one. So why don't you just super quick start with Lacey, what is EOS? and maybe very quickly what that meant outside of this context, and then how you've brought it in. Like, what does that mean that you're doing EOS for and with Amy and her team?
So EOS is the entrepreneurial operating system. And I think for me, what it meant outside was I had done this work in corporate America, worked in strategy and business planning. And when I saw EOS after leaving that world, I was like, if I had had these tools when I was there, so many conversations, so much planning, so much accountability would have been easier. So that's why I'm passionate about it and why I was willing to talk to everyone about it. And I think there's a gap. It's great.
How'd you first learn about traction and EOS?
Weird story. There was so the focus facilitation was Alan Richardson, who was one of the first EOS implementers. And he had a sign on the door in Adel, town we live in. And I just was like, facilitation, that's interesting. I had left corporate. I was looking at doing more of this and met him and his wife and ended up, like I said, working for him and learning more about EOS.
So you read the book, you get like certified or something, or you just read the book and learn?
Yeah.
Okay. Learn. So you start just ad lib using EOS and you start consulting with people?
Well, I wasn't. So EOS is really strict about how you do that.
Okay. So you're not acting as an implementer, but you're using their ideas.
Yes. And like the self-implementation of it, because I thought the gap was with solopreneurs, people, just really small businesses that don't have, what it costs to bring in an EOS implementer based on what some of the small businesses that I was working with and was passionate about had the ability to do. So I just wanted people to know about the concepts, know that the book existed and all of that. So that's why I was talking to Amy and Tyler. Certainly they were at the hitting the ceiling type
of complexity.
Of
and
So yeah.
So what does that look like as you guys start getting together, as you start helping them? I know the EOS system really well because we operate as a company.
We could tell.
Very, very strictly within that. We've made it our own, but we followed that system by the book.
Isn't it cool when you see other businesses, like when you can recognize from afar and you're like, they are doing EOS. It's really cool.
Yeah, and it fills a gap, right? Like what bureaucratic corporate America needs to do. It has massive systems and there's a bureaucracy to that that's good and bad. I think more bad than good. And then there's mom and pop. Between that, there's an infrastructure that's needed. And it's not the same for everyone, but there's sort of a template that works. There's certain things that every business is going to need to organize and understand and then be able to communicate around. And that's what EOS really provides. So I operate on EOS at a pretty big, not big, at a big entrepreneurial scale. We have 300 odd people and a significant leadership team. You guys are 5. So
I even do it with my family.
I love it. So this is what I want to get into. So let's talk about the family in a minute. How does it look inside of, to what level have you integrated, whatever you want to call it, the EOS platform, and how does that look just at a practical level for someone that doesn't even know what the system is?
Yeah. So the biggest thing is in a business where 1, 2, 3 people are serving all of the roles and functions that need to happen in a business, being able to identify who is doing what, and even if it is one person, what's the first thing you would let go, and what does that role look like? So building out the accountability chart, which I guess for people who aren't familiar,
org chart.
It's kind of an org chart, but with
roles.
You might have certain people. You might have one person sitting in multiple seats.
Kind of like, did you guys read E-Myth Revisited? It's very similar. You have all the seats, even though you've only got one person in the whole company.
Yeah.
But you've defined the specific roles for all the different hats that you wear. You physically did that accountability chart with all the...
Yes, and we've done it multiple times now because the business has shifted. And so that is a big component because that just gets us clear on...
It's huge.
Yeah.
It's clarity,
it's
right?
Where you find out, the thing that I appreciate about it is even though I may be sitting in this role and doing all of these things, you can break it down so that when you get busy, when your cup gets full, you know where you're going to offload. You can see where every task is broken down. Like even just on the way here, I'm like, okay, so we've been testing out some stuff the last couple of weeks of our roles between each other. And I'm like, how are you doing with marketing, social media posts or whatever? That sits in its own, you would tell me what vocabulary, its own seat. And that's one of those things that, both of us love it, but there's only so much time. So that's one component that if we get to that point, do we need to break that off and do we need to hand that to somebody else?
Until it's mapped and it's visible and it's tactile, you don't
liberating. Yeah. It's absolutely
This
liberating.
is what entrepreneurs struggle with, though, is they think that having to be confined or constrained to a system is going to confine them, but it actually liberates you once you are willing to do the work. Yeah. So, okay, so you did the accountability chart, you structured the roles. What else did you guys do? Do you do the rocks and the quarterlies and the whole thing?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
We go all in.
Very good. So what part of the system, to the best of your knowledge, aren't you doing, or are you kind of doing the whole thing?
I would say loosely doing the whole thing, because there's so many numbers in real estate. We haven't really done like the metrics as far as we don't do a weekly scorecard, but so that's probably the main. So you
don't do like weekly level 10s. Do you do your weekly one?
We've tested it. When we came over to Century 21, we thought, let's try that. And it just felt
too much.
It felt a little too much. Okay. Like, because we're communicating all week long, it felt a little too much. So we're
you're in the same
tweaking.
room most of the week, and
we're constantly tweaking that, like, regular check-in. So whatever regular is, what does that is a constant shift, and I think that also shifts seasonally. Like this time of year, there's
dailies, the quarterlies, and do you do a full 2 day?
No.
Okay, so you've scaled it all down a little bit.
But we have days like today where we have an Amy and Lacey day.
That's the substitute for. Yeah.
So honestly, even with other small companies I've worked with, they don't need the full 2 days either. I think definitely there's a component there of when the company gets to a certain size that you need that. So.
Very cool. So you've been slowly implementing without being actual. What is that? What they call implementers?
Yes. So the implementers are the certified, and they work with certain level companies. Like there's no one really serving this.
And it's a franchise structure now. So I think they converted to that. You can buy a franchise to be an implementer and get a market share or whatever, which I highly recommend. If you're a mid-sized company and you're not naturally gifted, or you don't have a Lacey in your life, I would say paying the money to have an implementer come in and get it set up for you.
I mean, I don't know what it costs now. I think it's a lot now.
Like thousands, tens of thousands.
Yeah, I mean, a day session used to be $6,000 to $7,000 a day.
Well, I mean, if you,
so that's different for.
Put in this plug company. Now for anyone in the company. Read the book and talk to us or talk to these guys, because this is not that complicated. You just got to be willing to do the steps.
And it is life changing. Mm-hmm. Life changing. Yeah.
So what? Let me back up before I get to family. How has it changed things? What is the fruit you've seen as a function of getting organized like this?
I mean, I think for me, it's so clear. Like everything is so clear. And I think in a business like this, especially when you start on your own and you're used to wearing all the hats and thinking like, if I don't do it, it won't get done and I have to do it all. It lessens that noise. And I have to have constant come to Jesus meetings with myself and with Lacey, because I am human and I get back into old patterns where I start steamrolling and taking old roles back, right? And so we have to have a little like reset. But we have the framework now, like where we can say, now look, when we did it this year, this is the seat that you are supposed to be sitting in, and here's the goals why. Because all of these conversations always start with goal setting. Like we are huge. That's what we started bonding on.
You call them rocks still, or do you? Okay.
But we don't, I would say, because the way that we work, I kind of own all of that. And then that's where kind of the quarterly and the annual strategy comes in, is I update Amy on that, but she's not in the rocks day to day.
Well, and that's key, because you're close enough to the business that you're not an administrator that she's communicating rocks to. You two are collaborating on the ideation and the decision making, and so that allows, it's just a different tier. Maybe I don't know how to. You just have more proximity to the actual business, right?
Yes. When we do operate like the visionary and implement like integrator role.
Let's talk about that super quick. So in the traction system, there's another book called Rocket Fuel. And in Rocket Fuel, you can learn about a visionary and an integrator. And the visionary is the ideas, the people, the vision, the mission. The integrator is responsible for making it all happen.
Shit done.
That's it. And the thesis in Rocket Fuel is you really, especially younger, innovative companies, need a visionary and an integrator.
Well, because the integrator responsibilities is what would have held Amy back from bringing on a team, because the idea of
she wouldn't want to deal with it.
Yeah, managing that day to day.
So like, for example, Julie and I have known each other for years, and she wanted to join the team. And I kept saying, no.
I don't want to deal with the logistics.
And it wasn't her. I love her. It was, I knew that I didn't have the capacity to do the integrator role.
You almost didn't want to let her down.
Yes.
And
I said, I want to, but I got to figure it out. I'm not willing to force this until I have a clear plan so that you know exactly what you're signing up for. I know exactly what I'm providing. And it did not make sense until Lacey decided, and we committed full time. Yeah.
Because Jill and Julie both kind of joined you guys recently, right?
At the same time. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But you felt like your capacity to take on that responsibility is a function of now being organized and feeling like you've got the capacity to serve them or provide whatever.
100%. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So that was the answer to the question, what fruit have you seen from this? How else would you answer that question? How has getting organized helped you?
The other thing I will say, like, I think the biggest blessing for me, well, a couple things, and I said this in the office meeting, which I'm always like talking at the office meeting. I'm like,
you're not afraid to jump in.
I'm the new girl that has everything to say. So I love that everyone has welcomed me and is okay with that so far. But anyways, a year ago when we made this decision and we talked about what it looked like, I think it's also kind of unique, Lacey and I's relationship in this business, because a lot of agents have an assistant. And I was like, I will not call you an assistant anymore, because you are so much more. And that's why I call her my partner, because she 100% is. And even though she is not selling and she's not lead generating and all that, she is so important to the longevity. I can't look at you, I'll start crying. And just the happiness and the joy that I find in doing what I do. And I would not do it without her. Like, I cannot imagine not having her in this. So to start the year last year, when we made this decision, I said one of my goals was I want to do the same or more business and work half as many hours. That was my big audacious goal. And so the fruit is I did not work a lot of evenings, and I did not work a lot of weekends. And I was able to take my first ever extended vacation where I was actually off. Not like the bullshit I'm taking vacation that realtors do, and then we work in the early mornings before the kids are awake, and then we sneak up to the room in the middle of the day to check our email, and we walk away because we have a negotiation, and we pretend that we're off, but we're not off. I wanted to be actually off, and I took a 2-week road trip with my son, and I was actually off. I talked to her twice, I think, and once was just because we missed each other. And then, took some other times off throughout the year. So, I mean, that to me, again, everything I do in real estate has a personal why. Like, I don't ever want to, I'm so committed to never being the person that says, I want to grow. I want to increase volume by what. Sure.
Yeah, real
if I know why,
like a vehicle for you,
yes.
it's a means to an end. The end is what you want to do with and through your family, and
100%.
Yeah.
So that to me is the fruit, and the fact that I get to do it with
that's cool
4 other women that bring me joy and are amazing, and my clients love, and we're building something that's feels kind of different. Nobody showed us this roadmap, and I'm sure there are other people doing way cooler shit out there in this business, but we feel like we forged our own path a little bit.
That's how we feel as a company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so crazy, because when we came over, and we knew this, and you two knew this, when we would meet, but it's like, it literally feels like a brokerage that operates in the same emotional and mental capacity that we do, which is there's a bigger reason.
Which is a lot more than traction and EOS. That's just a vehicle that allows it to happen. It's got to do with similar ideals and values and sort of how we view life, right? Like a framework. Yeah. So let's get into that part. Or is there anything more you want to add for anyone listening on the EOS
what
traction
do you
side?
Have? Lacey knows all of our numbers. I don't.
Well, I just think, and I may know them, but it's still not at the end of the day what's super important to us. I think it's the same thing. It allowed me to come over and do this full time, not just because the business was starting, but because you're able to look at that. And that's how I was able to even reassure you, like, we can't predict real estate. And that's kind of part of like your fear in jumping in and bringing team members on and having me full time. But it's like, we're strategizing and planning this together. We've got it all on paper. And if something hits the fan, we've got to figure that out. But that's everything we're doing is meeting.
At least I have some cool bitches in my boat.
So I think it's that. It's the security of it too, because we're going to make decisions the same way.
Yeah.
Regardless of how the business is going.
For sure.
That's fun. It's cool. I know that we have other agents in the company that leveraged EOS in different degrees. I think Ethan Hochul's team, Jamie is 100% like a implementer style or integrator, style.
So that was one of the agents that she worked with, by the way.
Who, Jamie or Ethan?
And when Justin came over, when Justin joined Jamie, then I did some coaching with
different
them.
Jamie. Different Jamie. Okay. I'm talking about the Hochul's team.
Okay.
Yeah, they also do traction. You're saying Jamie and Justin do or know some about it?
They did some.
And so, for anyone that's interested in that, I don't think it's for everyone. I don't think it's for individuals. I think as a individual agent and you're just getting started, I actually think E-Myth Revisited is the first book to read. I think everyone should read Traction just to understand the system. And then for some, if you're looking to scale and build out the business, then I think
the moment is when you're like, when you do that,
ceiling of
when
complexity.
you're in your real estate and you're like, oh my God, that's
when you read the book.
That's when you know that you need some help, because it's easy to burn out in this business.
Yeah,
and I don't know anybody that has been in it 20 years that hasn't reached a few points of burnout. And
we call that breaking through the ceiling of complexity.
Yeah.
So I love it. I love that part of you guys' story. I want to shift a little bit. I'm going to call that one of the pillars of your success formula. I'd like to ask you what the other pillars of your success formula are. So what are you doing? What's worked for you? What makes you guys what you are? I think I already know one of the answers, so I'm hoping that you land on it just from our time together.
I can't help but think like how growth minded we both are. Like we are constantly like seeking more understanding, whether that's in our personal lives and health, relationships, business, like constantly like what could we do better? What could we learn from this? What do you think?
I mean, to me, it's the relational, like the heart part of it.
Yeah.
I mean, we hold everything in that capacity, whether it's clients or the way we do business, the people we want to partner with, the brokerage we move to. I mean,
So you're ladies on a mission with a system, EOS, and a relational approach to business.
Yeah.
I mean, it was the relational approach to business thing that I think drew us together, right? In our first coffees together. And I think that was where we saw eye to eye right away. You and I, Lacey, saw eye to eye because right away I'm like, okay, hold on. This is a lady that knows how to put the systems together.
And I just kept talking.
That meeting was all about just getting your husband to agree that we could keep hanging out.
The numbers guy. I love him for it though.
Yeah. That was a good coffee. So, okay. I think I love both those things. I want to touch on the relational thing a little bit. So as part of your journey, independent of us, right? We're busy building this little thing here and we're focused fully on a relational approach to real estate. We're digging into Buffini early on. Like we're doing Buffini in 2004 before anyone in Iowa knows about it. And
when they were still using carbon copies, you guys were.
Oh, 100%. I was selling and it was horrible. It was absolutely the amount of work we had to do at that point. But my point is somehow independent of us, we're not the only people that have figured out a relational approach. Yeah. This is not like our idea, but I don't think it's common in the marketplace. And somehow you guys stumbled onto a very relational approach to selling real estate and you adopted that. I don't know when you got exposed to Buffini or if you even used that. Tell me about that journey just a little bit as you were building your business.
I think I don't have another way. Honestly, like when I started hearing about Buffini, I was like, oh, sweet Jesus.
This is what I've always been hoping existed. It reminds
me of my Jesus journey, right? And like when you struggle in faith and then you find some like scripture or Bible like study or something that helps it make sense. And I say like the Bible just makes like certain scripture.
Somebody just jumps out at you.
Gives me the written word to explain how what we're actually supposed to do, which is love one another. Oh, like I got it. Like, and when I met Buffini and was introduced to Buffini, it felt like the same thing of like, oh, there's a framework of how I just instinctively want to do this business. Like love was how I instinctively wanted to live life. And the Bible showed me there's a framework here. And Buffini was the same thing in my business. Okay. So
where did you find Buffini?
Probably when I came round two.
Round two.
Even in round one, I was doing like sphere of influence. And
you just didn't know how.
Kind of doing it. But there was no framework. It was like fly by the seat of your pants. So I remember doing a pop by before I knew what a pop by was. So when I got introduced to Buffini, I loved that. And I actually tried a coach for a very brief period of time, but felt more like it was a cheerleader than a coach. I didn't feel pushed.
This was a Buffini coach?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
a Buffini cheerleader?
Yeah. And the other part was I talked to a couple of them, and both of them, their first questions and conversations were about where did I want to get my volume to? And I was like, you don't get me. Like,
okay, wrong question.
Wrong
it's not
questions.
About the numbers.
Like, it will never be. And I just saw Scott yesterday, and he was like, well, I said, how many people we have in our pipeline for next year? And he was like, I have this amount of volume. And I was like, that's great for you. But it just was a mirror of like, that is how Lacey and I operate, is like, how many people are we going to work with? I hate the word leads, and I know it's an industry word, but I'm like, those are people.
No, I think it's the wrong way to think about your clients.
Yeah. So I don't remember what question you asked, but
I'm asking about the relational approach, how you found it. But then maybe my follow-on question is, why do you think, if that's so intuitive to you, it seemed like it was intuitive, and when you found Buffini, you're like, this is the language or the system that I always had inside me. I just didn't. Someone's put it down. Like, so thank goodness this exists.
Yeah.
We bump into those people, and those are the people we're looking for. Were there lots of others out there in your experience at the other companies you were a part of? Or did you feel like you were a black sheep or rare?
That was doing Buffini or relationally?
No, I love that you said that. I've seen lots of people do Buffini, but have no idea what a relational approach to real estate is, because I've seen others try and copy what we've done, but they don't. I think there's a fundamental difference between doing Popeyes and actually understanding building a business by referral. And one's a facade, and I think one's very core and
I
fundamental.
think it's the why. It's why you're doing it. And I think for me, the why is to attract and spend time with people that add something to my life, and I add something to theirs. And so I'm constantly like, how do we find those people? And birds of a feather, right? Like, I know the people that I have really enjoyed, whether it's personal life or a business transaction with, and I want to get to know their people. And then I think there's the alternative, which is like, I just want your people. I want your leads. I want you to send me referrals and send me leads. So I think there's a difference
So
there.
I'll ask the question again.
Okay.
In your exposure out there in other companies, I think I'm just getting more and more clear. Did you feel like you were unique, or do you think there was? Let me ask the question I'm actually asking.
This is so hard, because this is the other thing about me. I don't really pay a lot of attention to what other people are doing.
Got it.
I like constantly when we get together in networking, in real estate networking groups, and people are like, oh, did you hear about so-and-so, or did you see what so-and-so is doing? And I'm like, nope, I have no idea who that even is. So in my close proximity, there were a few people that I think were doing it, and there were people that were doing it well that I knew of. And then I think there were people that were trying it, and I saw gaps of where I wanted to do differently, kind of, maybe. I don't know.
From an outside perspective, I will say 100% I felt like you were doing something differently, and I've told you this before, and I've told our story. I would have never used a realtor again in my life had I not met Amy and saw behind the scenes of her business and her heart and how she does business, and that is the only reason.
And so define that. What did you see?
because it was so relational, and the caring and the time and the even at the expense sometimes, which is why we need to set up structures and boundaries and things.
To her own peril, she did right by the client.
Right, right. And I just remember feeling so dismissed in that process. And
with other agents.
Yeah, well, with who we had sold our house with years ago. But I just think, so I do think it's unique. I think what is amazing, though, is by being who you are and then now being in this world at Century 21, I feel like we see a lot more of it, and I love that.
It's so great.
I want to be surrounded by that, and I'm wish everybody was doing business that way.
By the other agents that are doing it the same way.
And just even just being in the office, like the staff, the other agents, like I can tell these are people that are, it's in their soul. They're not putting on a face. They're not pretending to try to want to build a relationship with me. Like you can just tell that we're amongst people that are ticking in a similar way.
Yeah, it's been what, 20 years of slow, systematic, intentional growth to find people. What we've done well is we've trained brand new agents, and just like you said, I didn't know there was another way. We've taught agents to sell not knowing that there's another way. So that's helped a lot because most of our growth has been people we started from scratch.
Which is phenomenal, by the way. I still cannot believe that first we were here
you
3 days at the round
table. That's funny.
And you threw out this statistic like it was nothing, and the whole room didn't even pay attention. That you said, I think it was 80% of the people in Golden Circle, I think it was,
started their careers here
at Century 21. And I was like, I was like, what? That is insane.
Why is that insane to you?
That even that you have 80% of the people that started, I don't know. I just think that is incredible and shows that this is a different way of doing real estate brokerage business.
Just like you, though, it's the only one we've ever known.
Yeah.
And I know no other way, and I wouldn't want to do it a different way. And if it had to be a different way, I probably wouldn't want to be in real estate. So,
amen.
I mean, that's maybe why we're sitting together today, is because we separate universes, separate stories, separate narratives, but same idea, right? And that's, I think, what attracted you to Century 21 in the first place. I'll phrase that as a question. Why are you here?
Well, peer
pressure
Lacey
is
made
a lot of it. No,
the ladies at the office made you?
The ladies at the office kept trickling it, and what's so interesting, and now I kind of get it because they didn't know any other way. So like Jamie and I, when we would talk about different things that we had seen at the two brokerages, because her and I started about the same time, we're at the same places for the same amount of times. And so, and she really, at the time that she moved over a year before us, she was really seeking the culture piece of it, where I was still in like, I got to figure out my own shit first, like the Team Lucht stuff. I was so
probably because
in the trenches with that.
You're so busy doing, like, you're very, like you said, you're not focused on what anyone else is doing.
Yeah.
So I think you're a culture all by yourself.
Yeah.
And you're okay. But I think someone like Jamie really thrives by having that. So does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. And so anyway, the girls would constantly talk about it. And Lacey and I, even one of the ideas we had is maybe we should create our own brokerage. So we like asked them a couple of questions, and we asked a couple of people and we were like, nah, that's not what we want to do, because we were seeking this, like it could be different. I think, and I don't want to say anything negative about RE/MAX or where I've been. There is a place for it. It served me really well for that phase of my life.
We're not for everyone.
Yeah.
And not everyone's a good match for us. And some actually thrive better in that model.
Yeah.
So you just maybe weren't in the right space for how you're wired.
Yeah. So ultimately, what finally is when Lacey and I found a way for her to stay full time, and this new partnership and building this team in the way that it could be. And we felt like the culture and the support at Century 21 was only going to make that better for us and for our team members. And 1,000,000%, like day one, we were like, yeah.
Yeah, tell me a little bit about that.
Thing.
Maybe if for no other reason, simply to high five some of our team. I'm curious, you guys have been vocal about this on the record. Honestly, though, how has this? What have you noticed? What have you observed? What's your experience been like? What's that?
I mean, it is like white glove service
From our admin team, support team.
Yes,
Okay.
Everyone.
every single person at every single interaction, and it's that internal. You can't make that shit up. You either have it or you don't, right? And everyone here, that every single staff member has that internal piece that just says, I want to serve. And how can I help make your day better or your experience better or whatever it is? And that is genuine. And we have felt it from every single person. I mean, we've had, I don't know how many things, poor Angela, we keep in like, oh, we have another unique situation here. But still, like, and never would we expect that anybody has all the answers, but every single person, every single time has said, we will work to find a solution, and circles back with us. And, you know,
that's
it's
the
just,
key part.
it is
Cool.
Yeah. Lacey has way more interaction than I do. So I probably should have let her answer, because that's my.
I don't even know what else to say. I'm a big fan of everybody here. I just think that's the kind of people I want to be around and work with. And even in a business where we work for ourselves, that's the part I maybe would have said I missed about being in a corporate environment or being in a larger space. And so I think they make it all worth it. It's like, okay, yeah, like I want to show up to the office. I come into the office more than I ever thought I would, just because it's good to see everybody and
vibes.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the downsides of our company is that so many of our people started here, right? So that 80% number is good and bad, because so many of our people, this is what they're used to.
They don't know.
And we're not perfect.
It's like when we get a first-time home buyer and they stay with us, they have no idea
how bad agents really are.
How bad it could be. Yeah. Like the people that come to us that came from somewhere else, they're like, holy cow, I didn't know that it could go like this. But when we get a rookie or a first-time home buyer and they're like,
just take it for granted.
Okay, great. Yeah. No,
I'm imagining all agents do this kind of thing, because of course they should.
Of course.
And of course, if you have questions as a top producer that joined our company, we should find the answers. And of course, we should circle back. And of course, we should create a remarkable experience for you guys when you join our company, and not overpromise and underdeliver. Mm-hmm. All of these are of courses. That's what I find so fascinating about this is we're doing nothing that genius. We're just doing what should be common sense. Mm-hmm. But I think somehow our industry doesn't understand. And circling back to my previous question about the relational thing, I feel the same way about that. My observation is that truly working by referral, not just having a Buffini box that you buy once a month, I think it's rare. I think it's not commonplace. And I spent a lot of time thinking about why that might be, but maybe why is unimportant. And what's more interesting is head down, and we're doing our version of this. Mm-hmm. And the right people, when they find it, it's just like what you said about Buffini. It's a match made in heaven, right? Mm-hmm. So I love the confidence that comes with that for us as a company, because we don't need everyone here. We just want the right people. And it's the same confidence you have in your business.
I was going to say, that is exactly how I feel. I don't need to serve it. I have never said I want to be the biggest or I want to be this. I just want to serve the people that I get to come in contact with really, really well.
Well, and there's a magical trickle down, I don't know, there's a beautiful effect to that, because when you have that mindset and you have the luxury of being able to, because you're not in scarcity, you attract that, and it kind of manifests that reality. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah,
that's super cool. A couple more things, because we probably got to wrap up.
I told you I can talk all day.
We could go 2 hours easily.
You get me going. I got
it. I love this part. You guys have almost become, I've heard it said that you've become protective of our culture. Mm-hmm. So I think that means like there's people that you realize wouldn't be a good match for us. Mm-hmm. And in the real estate business, there's sort of a recruiting culture, right? Mm-hmm. Sort of like lead generation for agents. Yeah. Get anyone you can. And then after a while, it's like, no, we don't want to work with that person. Mm-hmm. And you feel the same way about recruiting to our company.
100%.
Without names or anything negative about anyone, like what do you mean by that? And help me understand that conceptually. You've been here a few months, and you've developed a protection around our culture. Mm-hmm. Explain that.
You want me to go? You go.
What, are you scared you're going to say something mean?
No, I want to give Lacey a place to talk.
The only thing I'll let you go because I'm sure you spent
you two are sickeningly sweet to each other.
The only thing I'll say is anyone that isn't willing to dive in and have the conversation and share tips and tricks and the case studies and the things that you guys do that make it a learning and evolving environment that make everybody better. That to me would be, I mean, that's like, if you can't do that.
A giver, not a taker.
We love vulnerability.
Okay.
We love being able to be transparent and say like, I have struggled really hard with this. Do you have some help? Or seeing somebody else struggle and say, hey, here's something that I help. Like
and your concern would be that there's people that wouldn't have that same willingness to share.
Right. Yes, and also it goes into the abundance.
Like, oh, this is mine.
Yeah.
This is mine. Like, I have always been like, hey, yeah, if you want to look at the presentation that I do for clients, like go for it. Like, let me share it with you. Like very like open kind of mentality. And I think there's a lot of people that get very scarcity, like, oh,
that's the root of it.
Protective and
and
I think
sorry, keep going. This is another thing that our agents take for granted because I think that they're used to an environment of collaboration where everyone's vulnerable and it's kind of, there's no secrets because.
That's why I talk at the meetings because I've been used to like being the only one talking at meetings forever. And now it's like, there are people and there are other opinions and if I say something, I feel, I don't know a lot of the people and they don't know me very well, but I can tell very quickly that it's the kind of group that if I say something and they don't agree with, they're going to say, Amy, I don't agree with you. And I cannot wait. Like that makes me so happy because that's when you know you're in the right room, when people are willing to lift you up when you're doing well. And then also when you're not. Like, I can't wait.
Okay.
It's good stuff.
2 super quick questions.
Oh.
The first, I have to circle back on this. What does EOS for your family mean and look like?
So after we did this in the business, then Tyler was transitioning out, right? So I am very, like, if anybody ever is looking to work with their spouse, I am very transparent about the good, the bad, the hard, the great. We worked really, really well together. And the harder transition was when he stopped working with me because we had for 8 years raised kids and lived in this life. And so all of a sudden it was like all these jobs had to get done and who was doing it. And, you know, you make assumptions and all this stuff. And so I was like, this has to work with as a family too. And my kids were like preteens and they were starting to ask for all this stuff and rides. And I was like, they need to understand that when they ask for something, that something else has to give. So we sat down as a family. And the first thing we did was core values as a family.
Yeah.
And it was super fun exercise. If anybody wants like the details of how I did it, I documented everything so people could do it on their own. My brother did it. So we did core values, came up with our family mission statement and our accountability chart. So we went through everything from like who schedules dentist appointments and who feeds the dog and what are the daily tasks for the kids? Like you
involved them in the decision-making process.
They were in all of this. Cool. And so we had a Trello board and then they were also getting phones. And so we were like, okay, these are tools. How old now? At that point? I think Braden was 13.
Okay.
So it was like, okay, but you're going to have tools on this phone that are helpful for our family as well. So it was kind of all of this of what are their daily roles? What are their monthly? And then every month we have gotten a little bit out of habit of it this year just because everyone's in 40 different directions. But we still, I would say every other month. But we do a monthly full moon meeting. So on the full moon, we get together.
Why the full moon?
Yes.
Why?
Oh, because I'm also a hippie. But the full moon is all about like letting go. So we go like your issues list. So it is our opportunity to say like what's not working.
Wow.
And so we have a very transparent conversation with, hey, this is not working. What do we need to adjust? How's it going? And we look at our month ahead and kind of adapt. And then one of our core values is fun. So every month we try to say like, what are we going to intentionally do that's fun this month as a family? So
that's terrific.
It saved us through that transition. It definitely give us, again, structure. It didn't alleviate all the stuff, right? But it always gave us something to come back to. And any time now when things feel out of order in our family, I'm like, that's because we haven't had a full moon meeting. It's been 2 months. Like, we need to do this. And it always makes it feel better. It's so good.
You are a hippie.
I know.
A full moon meeting. But I think that's really, really cool. I've not looked, but I wonder if anyone's actually written a book on what you just described for families, like an EOS for families, because it'd be there you go, business idea.
Oh, I had it already.
Oh, okay.
I actually just took it off my bulletin board this week.
Yeah,
I had a whole bulletin board of like
a lot of other things to
that
focus
you could
on.
Sell and help families structure this. But
so the only thing I will say, like EOS as a company does encourage their implementers to live the EOS life, which kind of goes to the same thing about building those long-term goals and short-term goals with your family. But this took it to a whole new level, which I love because I geek out on this.
I just listened to a really good podcast. I'm trying to remember where now. And it was the person being interviewed is the current, sort of like the new CEO of EOS. Yeah. And I actually got to sit with their chief implementer at Strategic Coach a couple times. Because EOS with Gino Wickman was born out of Strategic Coach. So yeah, it's an amazing system. It's super cool that you guys are doing that. Okay, final question. It's just about next year and future plans. And so I'm going to do this as the visionary, Amy, and the integrator. And I'm going to ask you what your visionary goals are or hopes for the next year or three, however you want to pick it. And then what your systems or structural business planning improvements are for the next year. Let's just do next year. What's the big goals for next year?
Lacey, help me remember.
Typical visionary.
Really, it's the delegation and Amy getting out of some of the day-to-day, more of the day-to-day, I'd say. And then from my perspective, I just had to say today, like, no, we don't need to hire anybody yet, even if it's painful for me for a little bit. Like, I've got to figure out the system and what that would look like. So I'd say your vision is, so like you don't want to take it back. So you wanted to protect me. And I'm like, we'll work through it.
So you want to get more and more of your time.
I want to focus, like 100% focus on the things that, it was a couple weeks ago that you brought it to the meeting, like that fire me up. That
the
I
ABC?
love. Yes.
Yeah.
We had just had that conversation the week before.
Fascinating and motivating, right?
We talked about that, and then you bring this thing in, and it was like the framework of like, shit, I almost dropped the F-bomb.
I'd actually already sent her the podcast that you did on it. She just hadn't listened to it yet.
Of course, of course.
So, but kind of like me getting to that point and then releasing some of the following up and getting things scheduled and going back and forth 40 times of like, no, 2:30 doesn't work. How about 2:15? No, 2:15. Like that kind of stuff. So that I can have space because like this week, so email management is huge, right? And we communicate that to our clients and to realtors. You communicate with us via email because we have so many people and that's how we have to keep everybody on the same page. But it gets overwhelming. And for me, it's hard for me because I've served in all the roles and done all the things. It's hard for me to not see an email and go, I'll just take care of it quick. So I deleted Gmail off of my phone this week so that I would give time for them to do what they can do and me stay out of it. And it was amazing.
So that's the thing. We have the systems in place, but then it's like, what are the guardrails? Because it's so easy to slip back in. And so we talked about it earlier this week and she's like, well, what if I just deleted Gmail off my phone? I'm like,
that's a big move.
That would be amazing. Please do that.
And how do you feel? Naked or how do you feel? Liberated?
The first day it was like, I mean, I also delete social media off of my phone from time to time.
I do the same thing. You have to.
You have to because you start to get in this, like, you just do it. Like
it's habitual.
Say it, yeah.
You don't even know you're doing it.
Yeah. So it was amazing. Like, and it's just such a good reminder. And there is someone that I'm trying to convince to take some time off. You know who you are, because it shows you, I feel like anytime you take time off or do something like this, it shows you that there's a different way possible and that what we're doing isn't brain surgery or rocket science. Like, things will get done. So anyway, I think next year's goals are that we've got some individual team goals with each of our team members of like ways and that they can grow their business and that we can help collaborate more together. So that's pretty exciting.
What about the systems side?
Of course, I have.
Or was that the systems side?
I think our systems are pretty well built. There's some things I want to dive into this year just because, like I said, geek out over this stuff and I want to improve things whenever I can. But I think right now it is really just we've built the systems. Now we need to make sure that we're really testing them out, because if we have another year like this year, great. But if we
increase, what are they talking?
And
15%?
if we haven't we need to put the pressure on the system, and we haven't done that because we really have to be like, okay, now let's stick to what we said we wanted to do and see if it works.
Well, cool. I learned a lot. I think there was a lot of good nuggets there for people.
Sure,
you
there's
guys
a few
are
that were pointless, but that's all right.
Well, that's what conversations look like. You guys are open to sharing more information on
100%.
Traction and EOS if anyone has questions.
Yes.
And I'll send my wife to you for
rising tides float all boats. Like I truly believe that.
Yeah.
So.
It's an abundance mindset,
Yep.
and you can't outgive a team. So that's one of our big superpowers is just who we've got and that they're willing to share. So, really appreciate you guys sharing.
What am I helping your wife with?
I was going to say you should go set up the family EOS structure, but then I realized I'm well beyond that. My kids are almost 20 and 17. I didn't do it EOS, but I certainly did it. We had family meetings. We had business meetings on Sunday, family dinners every week, and we're very intentional. Yeah. But I never thought to do a family core values like you did the VTO basically, but you did the VTO internally. That's Vision Traction Organizer. So cool.
M&Ms.
So well done.
M&Ms are rewards.
Yeah, no, we're again beyond that. So it's just fun to have you guys, period. So welcome.
Thanks for having us
to the podcast, but also to the team, and big things ahead. So
thank you. Cool. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us today. For more episodes, resources, and show notes, head to morethanmorepodcast.com.